So we drove the Tesla 2022 Model 3. Woo! So, disclaimer, this is not my first time driving a Tesla. I've driven a Model S before back in 2017. So, but it's been a while, and Tesla's changed some things since then. So, some bit of background. So, I rented the Model 3 through Turo. If you're not familiar with what Turo is, think about Airbnb, but for cars. So, you rent cars out on the platform, and you kind of just choose one and you just pick it up, or they drive to the airport and pick you up, which is what happened with our host. They picked us up, and hand over the keys or key card or whatever you use to unlock whatever car you get. For a Tesla, it was the key card, looks like a credit card, and off you go. So that's what we did. We drove around Chicagoland. So I was at home for the holidays, back in Chicago, and we drove it from almost the edge of the Illinois-Wisconsin border all the way to, we did go to Indiana. We did. We did a lot of driving in this Model 3, okay? So, and it was just me and my husband, and he had never driven a Tesla before. So the experience really wasn't that different to our normal car, which is a 2019 Hyundai Sonata Hybrid Limited with the sunroof. So if you've ever driven a hybrid car, it's very similar to kind of driving a Tesla, to be honest. Hybrids are very quiet. You have the regenerative energy that it takes back from either when you're going downhill or when you're braking. So in a Tesla, the driving experience is different. If you've never driven a Tesla, then you probably don't know this. You don't use the brakes really when you're driving a Tesla. They have something called regenerative braking. And what it does is, so your foot is on the accelerator, right? As soon as you take it off, the car automatically kind of goes into brake mode. So it decelerates automatically when you put your foot off the accelerator, right? And the more urgently you do it, the faster the Tesla will stop, right? So you really don't have to even hit the brake. You can just really regulate the accelerator, and that's kind of how you brake and go. So it takes a little getting used to, but it's really not that foreign, to be honest. So why did we go with a Model 3 renting a car, right? Well, one, why not? But two, we knew we were going to drive around a lot, and gas prices weren't too crazy, but they're still high, right? So we wanted to save money. I knew if I would have gotten a regular car, I probably would have filled the gas tank twice in the 4 days that we were there, just because we were just driving suburb to suburb, this way, that way. We were driving all over the place. So I already knew that going into it. So that's why I chose an EV, and specifically Tesla, right? I enjoy driving Teslas. Tesla's a great car, and plus I've never driven a Model 3 before, and that's one of their most popular cars because it's the lowest price one, let's be real. Okay? They're fun to drive, okay? And I will say this. So there's no buttons really for the controls. It's all like on a touch screen. It takes some getting used to where stuff is. And apparently I turned off the radio and couldn't figure out how to turn it back on because I couldn't find the radio button. I have no clue how to do it. So you can hook it up to Spotify. You can hook it up to Netflix and watch Netflix when you're supercharging. So that's really cool. You can play games on it. It's just really cool because it's a computer in the car. So, but other than that, it's pretty intuitive to drive it. This one didn't have full self-driving, but it did have autopilot. Let me distinguish what the two are, because people think autopilot and they think that it's like the car driving itself. No. In Tesla terms, autopilot is a feature. A lot of other car brands have this. Like in our Hyundai, we have this like system also. So like when you're driving, it sees the lines on the road, right? And in our Hyundai, if you kind of veer off the lines, not only will the Hyundai like beep, like beep, 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 it'll beep, but it'll slowly turn the wheel back to where you're on track in between the lines, right? Tesla does is the same in their autopilot, but I will say that their pressure as far as turning the wheel back to center isn't as aggressive or as stiff as Hyundai's. Hyundai's, like you can feel it. Like it's they're keeping you safe. And the Tesla, it's much softer. So I will say that difference. Now, full self-driving in Tesla, that's the car driving itself that you see all the videos about. Okay, that's full self-driving, and that's the extra cost on top of the car that you have to pay, right? And mind you, full self-driving is still in beta mode. If you're not familiar with technical terms, beta mode it's not available for the general public, also because it's not really legal yet. So they've released a test-ish version of it that you can use. Now, this Tesla didn't have it, so I wasn't able to try it out. I'll probably try it out next time when I rent like a Model S or something like that. So anyways, now let me get to cost savings. This is the reason why a lot of people are going to EVs over gasoline cars. So had I have gotten a regular gasoline car, I just told you before, I would have filled the tank up twice, because that's how much driving we did in 4 days, twice. In the Tesla, we made 3 supercharging stops, right? 3 supercharging stops. It really should have been 2, because one was like 15 minutes because I had to go, and I was at 18 miles. Left a battery. Hey, I wanted to push it to the limit. You know, I want to feel the range anxiety. I want to live on the edge. So yes, I did push the car to 18 miles left. That was nerve-wracking, okay? Supercharging was super easy. Now, I've noticed in the city in Chicago, they have like regular chargers and then they have superchargers. The difference is the regular chargers, they're good for if you're parking your car like downtown Chicago overnight and you're in a hotel, right? You'll find those in the parking garages, but they don't charge fast. If you need charge like now, you need to go to a supercharger, and you kind of got to drive further out for those. Like in the city of Chicago, the supercharger closest to downtown, there was, I think, one downtown like on Oak Street, and then there's one on the north side. And then on the south side, there's only one supercharger on the south side, okay? And it's more like by Beverly. It's like 95th, there's 96 or something like that. It's like all the way out by Western, okay? So that kind of sucked. And the thing about superchargers, there's some in the suburbs as well, and we went to one in like Buffalo Grove, and that happened to be like our home supercharger. Because not a lot of people are there. It was like on the side of a Kroger. So it was cool. So cost-wise, gasoline car, I would have filled up twice. It probably would have been $80 to $90, right? $40, $45 to fill it up. Tesla, I spent like 34 or 36 bucks to supercharge. That's less than half of what I would have paid for gasoline. Less than half. How cheap is that? And supercharging, mind you, is roughly about 35 cents per kilowatt hour. So obviously, if you can charge at home, those rates would be cheaper, because electricity in Illinois, I believe they charge you like maybe 12 point something per kilowatt hour. So it would be even less if you charged at home and if you did off peak, on peak, all that stuff. I'm not going to go into it. Point is, I saved a lot of money, more than half of what I would if I would have used the trip with a gasoline car. Also, I got to brag and stand around in a Tesla and show my parents, who also rode in the Tesla too. My mother was not impressed. She was like, meh, but she's not a car person, okay? My dad is a car person. So it was his first time riding in a Tesla, and I was like, how do you like it? He's like, ooh, this is nice. And then I was like, would you buy one? He was like, yeah, I'd buy one. So, and this is like an old school, like, you know, likes Buicks, classic cars and stuff like that. So for somebody of the boomer generation to say that they would buy a Tesla Model 3, I think is a big deal. So shout out to the boomers. Anyways, Thank you for watching this video. If you are interested in Turo, it's a great way to rent a car. It's really stress-free. And for me personally, getting a Tesla on Turo, it's a great way to experience the car before you commit to buying it. Because as you know, it's very hard to get pre-owned Teslas, and you usually have to order it like a brand new Tesla, and you don't get to test drive it or anything like that. So Turo is a great way to do it. A lot of people in a bunch of markets are putting Teslas onto Turo to rent. So it's a great way to do that. It's a great way to save money when you're traveling, and it's a cool car. Like, let's be real. Tesla makes really good cars. You hear about the quality control stuff and all this and all that, but they're one of the safest cars on the road. They're very cool to drive, very eco-friendly, and it's nice. Like, come on. There's so many pros to it. Clearly, I'm a Tesla girl. So anyways, thank you for watching this video. Comment, like, share, and I will see you on the next one. Bye. Ooh, we almost didn't make it. Woo, hoo, hoo, hoo. Woo, but we did. Woo, we made it. Yeah, charge me up, charge me up. We on 18 miles.